Imagine with me for a moment standing in the scorching Egyptian desert above the ancient necropolis of Saqqara. Beneath your feet lies a labyrinth that has challenged our understanding of the ancient world. We're talking about the Serapeum, an underground complex that shouldn't exist according to conventional engineering logic. But here's what will blow your mind. Deep inside these narrow tunnels, archaeologists discovered something that, honestly, just defies all explanation. Massive granite sarcophagi weighing 62 tons each. That's equivalent to 12 adult elephants or 4 full city buses compressed into perfectly polished blocks of red Aswan granite, buried meters underground in passages so narrow that a person can barely walk through them standing upright. For over 13 centuries, from the 18th dynasty until the Ptolemaic period, this complex served as the sacred cemetery for the Apis bulls. These weren't ordinary animals. They were considered living incarnations of the god Ptah in Memphis. But what started as a simple animal necropolis became one of the most impressive logistical challenges of the ancient world. According to archaeologists from the Supreme Council of Antiquities of Egypt and the French Institute of Oriental Archaeology, recent excavations reveal that the complex developed in several clearly differentiated construction phases. The early galleries, known as the Lesser Vaults, were expanded during the reign of Ramesses the Great by order of Prince Khaemwaset, the fourth son of the pharaoh who had become something of a royal archaeologist obsessed with restoring ancient monuments. But the real marvel came centuries later. During the reign of Psamtik I in the 26th dynasty, the construction of the so-called main vaults was undertaken, and this is where the story becomes completely fascinating. Field research conducted by teams from the Egyptian Museum in Cairo and international universities documented that these new galleries were not only larger and deeper, but housed sarcophagi of dimensions and weights never seen before. We're talking about monolithic blocks of red and black granite exceeding 60 tons with their corresponding lids. The granite used came from the quarries of Aswan, more than 800 kilometers south of Saqqara. Transporting these blocks down the Nile was already an epic feat in itself, but what's truly incomprehensible is how they managed to introduce them into the underground tunnels. The main corridors of the Serapeum are barely 3 meters wide and just over 4 meters high. The side chambers where the sarcophagi rest are slightly wider, but not much more. Various academic works and excavation reports agree that the ceilings show marks from torch smoke and tools, but no evidence of pulleys, ramps, or lifting mechanisms that could explain such a logistical feat. And here comes the most bewildering part of all. The sarcophagi don't just impress by their weight, but by the perfection of their finish. The surfaces are polished with precision that borders on absolute perfection. The internal angles are so exact they seem laser-cut. The lids, weighing between 15 and 20 tons each, fit their bases with millimetric tolerances. Studies published in the Annals of the Antiquities Service of Egypt suggest that the level of precision achieved in these sarcophagi surpasses even that of many more famous pharaonic constructions. The artisans achieved surfaces so smooth they reflect light like mirrors. And this, working under precarious lighting conditions, meters underground, in claustrophobic spaces where tools barely fit. But there's something even stranger. When French archaeologist Auguste Mariette discovered the Serapeum in 1850, he found that virtually all the sarcophagi were empty. Only one preserved the mummified remains of an Apis bull. But even this finding generated controversies among experts. There are hieroglyphic, iconographic, and stratigraphic records pointing to continuous use of the complex for over a millennium. But the physical evidence of occupation is, honestly, surprisingly scarce. The chamber walls show barely any decoration, and when present, it's of an almost disturbing sobriety compared to the typical ornamental richness of Egyptian tombs. The traditional version, collected in ancient texts by Strabo and Herodotus, tells us that each Apis bull was mummified with divine honors and deposited in these monumental sarcophagi. Although scientifically, there's still no consensus on many aspects of the process. Modern fieldwork has revealed even more intriguing details. The floor of the main galleries is perfectly leveled, carved directly into the limestone with a precision that, honestly, kind of defies comprehension. The architects created a drainage system so efficient that after more than 2,000 years, the chambers remain dry. Some Egyptologists, based on radiocarbon dating and stratigraphic analysis, propose that certain sections of the complex might be even older than initially thought. Construction techniques vary notably between different areas, suggesting multiple work phases extending over centuries. But perhaps most impressive of all is the pure logistics. Imagine coordinating the transport of a 60-ton block from Aswan to Memphis, then from the river port to Saqqara, then introducing it into underground tunnels, positioning it with millimetric precision in side chambers, and finally giving it a finish that rivals the best works of modern engineering. And all this multiplied by 24 main sarcophagi, plus dozens of smaller ones distributed throughout the complex. We're talking about thousands of tons of worked granite, with precision and under conditions that would make any contemporary engineer sweat. The tools found at the site are, pretty typical of ancient Egypt. Copper chisels, stone hammers, fiber ropes, nothing that seems remotely capable of achieving such precision in working one of the hardest materials we know. There are alternative theories, defended by independent researchers, who interpret these remains as evidence of lost technologies or technical knowledge that far exceeded what we traditionally attribute to ancient civilizations. But the academic community maintains a more conservative stance, seeking explanations within the framework of known knowledge and tools of the period. What's indisputable is that the Serapeum represents one of the most impressive technical achievements of the ancient world. It's a project that really challenges our preconceived ideas about the capabilities of Egyptian builders. But what modern archaeology has discovered in the last 30 years goes beyond any known technical challenge. Ground-penetrating radar analyses carried out by international teams revealed that beneath the Serapeum extends a network of tunnels and chambers that have not yet been fully explored. Modern fieldwork suggests the complex could be up to 3 times larger than currently known. Dr. Zahi Hawass, during his excavations as director of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, documented the existence of at least 8 sealed chambers that remain intact since antiquity. Preliminary measurements indicate that some of these chambers could house even more massive sarcophagi than those already known. We're talking about pieces that could exceed 80 tons. Studies published in the Annals of the Antiquities Service demonstrated that the granite used in the oldest sarcophagi presents a slightly different mineral composition from the known Aswan quarries. Petrographic analyses suggest these rocks could come from even more distant deposits, possibly from regions now under the waters of Lake Nasser. The precision of the work is even more impressive when examined under a microscope. The interior surfaces of the sarcophagi show tool marks forming absolutely uniform patterns. Each pass of the instrument left grooves of exactly the same depth and spacing. Modern engineers who have studied these marks agree that maintaining such regularity working by hand in low-light conditions is practically impossible. Fellow explorers, what we've just uncovered raises a perplexing question. If the ancient Egyptians were capable of building this thousands of years ago, what else did they construct that we haven't found yet? The Serapeum continues to guard its secrets beneath the desert sands, and with each new discovery, we're forced to reconsider what we thought impossible for ancient civilizations. Which theory do you find most convincing about how they moved these colossal sarcophagi? What do you think about the precision that rivals modern technology? Share your thoughts with our community of truth seekers in the comments below. And don't forget, we have more incredible discoveries waiting for you in upcoming episodes. Until then, keep exploring.